Welcome everyone to the program In the Beginning. I am Father Linh. Today we celebrate the 20th Sunday in Ordinary Time, Year B. Our Gospel passage is from St. John chapter 6, verse 51 to 59. During World War II, the German Nazi forced many 12 and 13-year-old boys into the junior Gestapo. These boys were treated very harshly and given inhumane jobs to perform. When the war ended, most had lost track of their families and wandered without food or shelter. As part of an aid program to post-war Germany, many of these youths were placed in tent cities. Here, doctors and psychologists worked with the boys in an attempt to restore their mental and physical health. They found that many of the boys would awaken in the middle of the night, screaming in terror. One doctor had an idea for handling that fear. After feeding the boys a large meal, he put them to bed with a piece of bread in their hands, which they were told to save until morning. The boys then slept soundly, because after so many years of hunger, they finally had the assurance of food for the next day. You see, although these boys were fed well, the piece of bread in their hands became the magical healer for their psychological distortion. These boys were no longer desperately hungry for food, but they were hungry for love, for kindness, for thoughtfulness, and for assurance. In the same way, the crowd saw in Jesus much more than a teacher and a healer after witnessing him to perform the miracle of feeding 5,000 people. They have been waiting for a heavenly king who would break the grip of poverty. Many believed a sight of this king would be a new miracle of manna. If the Jesus could supply food miraculously, he could help them throw off oppressive Roman rule. They wouldn't have to work for food anymore. Unfortunately, they didn't understand who Jesus was or what following him would really mean. People today are still like that hungry crowd. They may not be hungry for literal food, but they crave material comfort, status, and reputation and love. If they can get these things through Jesus, they are ready to sign on. As Christians, we sometimes presume Jesus' main job is to take care of us. We expect him to lead us to a job and a car that can run. But after a while, our tastes get fussier. Like the Israelites waking up to manna every morning, we are tired of the same old, same old. We want a home with more privacy, a more interesting yet less stressful job, and a faster, shinier car. We want Jesus to perk us up when we are down, remove our difficulties, and make living a whole lot easier. And then, when those things do not come, we feel as if Jesus has walked away from us. The crowd Jesus fed wanted more literal bread to sustain their earthly lives. Jesus wanted them to see that his purpose was to give them heaven's true bread, the bread of eternal life. He reminded them that manna didn't last. The people who ate it eventually died. Those who believed in him, however, would gain eternal life. I am the living bread that came down from heaven, Jesus said. If anyone eats of this bread, he will live forever. This bread is my flesh, which I will give for the life of the world. We participate in the bread of life by identifying ourselves with Jesus Christ. When we discover Jesus as our bread of life, we allow him to act within us as our spiritual sustainer. Today's responsive psalm states, "Taste and see the goodness of the Lord." To taste of Jesus is to enjoy something with eternal joy. To feed on Christ is to get his strength into us to be our strength. We feed on Christ and then go and live our life. It is Christ in us that lives our lives, that helps the poor, that tells the truth, that fights the battles, and that wins the crown. Jesus promises that those who feed on him will be raised up at the last day. Lord, help me feed on you always, especially in the Eucharist, so that I will be raised up when you come again. Thank you for listening. Please subscribe to my video and visit my website at fatherlin.com. May God bless you.